2, 1.
Tell us about the ocean, Mike.
We're getting a divorce.
Jesus Christ. It's true. Alright, I'm Austin Andrews.
I'm Mike Kev.
This is the greatest philosophy podcast on the internet. Tales from the Ocean. First.
You don't want to say that, because then we might end up like Cole Smithy.
Wait, what do you mean?
The best critic in the world, where everyone makes fun of him because he said that.
I mean, listen, if people want to make fun of us, at least we're getting watched.
Yeah.
Alright, first off, you guys should be taking your time right now to go to patreon.com/area22 to help out the studio, because we love these guys, and you should be obviously.
Love you too, Austin.
See?
Yeah, we want to make the sea bricks blue.
Yeah, we're trying to get some money to paint them blue.
It's gonna cost us like $25,000.
Yeah.
So
for all the paint and all the brushes and everything.
Brushes.
Shut the fuck up, all of you. No, shut up, all of you. All of you, be quiet.
Remember, we have to watch our cursing.
Oh my god. Whatever.
It's a good thing. Cursing's bad.
Cursing is saying
it makes you sound stupid.
Saying no words is bad for you.
Yeah.
It lowers your IQ. Just like this might lower your IQ, Mike. We're gonna talk about more divine heroes, but instead of Jesus Christ, this is somewhat related to it. We're gonna talk about the legends of King Arthur.
Barry.
What?
Nothing.
No more memes for you. You need to cut memes out of your diet.
You're the one who said God is a meme.
He is! God is a meme. He is, though.
Excalibur's a meme. He pulled the meme out of the stone.
Actually, the Excalibur and the sword and the stone are the same sword.
They're not?
No.
Then what the hell is the sword and the stone?
Well, we're going to talk about that. I'm glad you asked. All right, so.
Pull the sword out of the sea bricks.
Pull the submarine out of the ocean. Full of the philosophers that nobody watches. Alright, so King Arthur was a legendary British leader who, according to medieval histories and romances, led the defense of Britain against Saxon invaders in the late 5th and 6th centuries. Okay, one thing I want to point out to you, Mike, is that, isn't it, you know the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, right?
Sure, yeah.
Well, have you?
Wait, what?
The Romance of the Three Kingdoms. The Warring States period in China. The books about it.
Yeah.
That's what Dynasty Warriors is about.
Yeah.
Have you or haven't you?
Dude, I like Japan more than China.
Sorry, Chinese audience.
Well, I'll get to you eventually.
But like, the Romance of Three Kingdoms was a very similar kind of well, it wasn't a similar tale, but it was like a series of, characters and interactions and really legendary figures and war and stuff like that, and tragedy and romance.
Ni hao.
But like, I think it's kind of cool that despite not having ever been interacting with each other, these two cultures came up with their own like sort of like romances, like epic legend kind of romances.
Okay.
Well, don't you think that's interesting?
No, I don't care. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's interesting.
Like, I think it just goes to show, like, again, like, remember you were talking about that guy who came over to that island?
Centennial Island, and they had bows, and it's so crazy how everyone always makes bows.
Yeah.
Which is nutty.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I'm pretty sure there's a direction to the universe. There is. The universe is going in a particular direction. There's a force, a uniform force.
Yeah. Wouldn't you know there's like a bunch of like two Chinese guys making a podcast about friggin' philosophy?
There is, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Tales from Bottom of Ocean. Alright, so in the legend, Arthur is taken away and raised by the wizard Merlin. Or he's advised. And Merlin goes on to also advise a bunch of other kings. So one thing I want to talk about is that I'm kind of summarizing what...
Is that why the fish from Finding Nemo is named Merlin?
His name's Marlin.
Whatever.
Well, I mean, that would have been interesting if it was, but I'm summarizing a lot of different sort of interpretations of the text because, for one thing, it's old, and apparently, like, it was written by like 5 different people who were never associated with each other because there's like so many different ways it happened, which is crazy. But like I said, I'm summarizing. He then removes the sword embedded within the stone after being revealed a prophecy by the wizard.
Wait, King Arthur did?
Yeah, before he became king of all of England, he had to commit.
Oh, so you're saying the sword that was in the stone and Excalibur are two different swords?
Yeah, don't worry. I'll tell you where Excalibur came from. It was a feat thought impossible, and upon succeeding, he took up the mantle as the new king of all of England. So, I know what you're laughing at.
Yeah, they don't though.
Yeah.
Oh, you will.
Okay, I gotta stop thinking about it because that is actually kind of funny and relevant. But what does the act of removing the sword from the stone symbolize, and what does that have to do with?
Well, in my folklore class I took in 12th grade,
really?
It says that. Yes, I did. It
Really?
was cool. We talked about D&D and Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and shit. It was a cool class.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty hard though.
Cool.
Actually.
Okay, go on.
Anyway, we learned that like swords are a phallic symbol.
Yeah.
And that it symbolizes basically like becoming a man, like how what's his face, Bilbo takes a sting, like gets sting, and that's like how he gets brave and everything. Like the moment he has a sword that could smite God, whatever the hell.
Well, smite orcs, goblins, like
Yeah.
smite evil.
Yeah, so once he got that sword, he like started becoming a man, and that the sword is like a phallic symbol.
Okay, that is actually really cool, and I should know not to underestimate you, Mike, but I figured I would need to whip out my
I'm actually incredibly more smart than you are.
incredibly more smart.
Yeah, dude.
I thought I'd have to whip out my notes because like there was actually a really in-depth
Well, throw it away. You don't need it.
Well, hold on, because basically in this the sword obviously, like you said, is a masculine symbol. But like it actually goes deeper, like the whole reason why it's embedded in a stone and why nobody really could pull it out. And what I had read was that the stone symbolizes like a sort of feminine. It's just sort of feminine. The sword is masculine. Like the union between them is like the creation of, like a union between the phallic and the feminine sort of,
Vagina.
whatever. Yeah. And basically, like what King Arthur symbolized when he was taking it out is he was undoing not necessarily undoing his creation, but sort of
Becoming a new thing.
well, he was showing that he could take control over the masculine sort of icon and become his own man, like you said.
Yeah, which is probably explains why there's so many stories about heroes getting a sword, because they always like refer to the sword as like manhood.
Yeah,
Your PP.
it's a chosen weapon. Well, yeah, like dude, listen, like in every single Legend of Zelda game, there's literally no. Actually, that's a really cool thing. In Ocarina of Time, for anybody who's played it, when Link first gets the Master Sword, he actually literally becomes a man.
Yeah.
Like he travels forward in time and becomes a man. It's crazy. It all comes full circle. Listen, there's a direction to the universe.
Well, I think that's just like. I think like King Arthur set like a precedent for that kind of stuff. Precedent. He said a president. Well,
That's really cool, isn't it, Mike?
yeah, I know. Swords are. I have two that my dad got me in a box of knives
Cool.
that he just threw at me one day. He's like, "Oh, here you go. There's all these knives and a sword." I'm like, "Thanks, Dad."
Oh, jeez. See, I think as King Arthur's father, King Pendragon, I think Ulfgar Pendragon or something like that.
Pentadragon?
No, I think it was Pendragon or something like that.
Penetrate a dragon? Is he Donkey from Shrek?
No, but I think his name basically translates to Chief of Dragons or Chief of all Chiefs.
Okay.
But I believe he like this whole thing is honestly like set up mostly by Merlin, which I don't understand why there's not really like sort of symbol like what Merlin necessarily symbolizes, but I think he just sort of symbolizes the wise.
Well, if you bring it back to Lord of the Rings, what does Gandalf the Grey and Gandalf the White do? He's basically just like Merlin, kind of guides him along the way.
So is he God?
Either that, or he's like an older person who's been in that position sort of before, helping a younger generation go through it.
So kind of like just like
Like a mentor.
Yeah, the old. There's just the sort of guiding.
Kind of to show that,
mentor
like, it's
archetype.
kind of, I guess, to show that the main hero isn't necessarily the strongest just because he's the main hero.
Oh. Oh yeah,
Probably.
like what the mentor lacks in strength, he imparts.
It kind of prevents the
Wisdom.
character from being a Mary Sue, sort of, because there's somebody like above him.
Oh yeah, kind of like Yoda.
Yeah, and then Yoda gets like struck down anyway, which is didn't.
Wait,
yeah.
that's cool. So in Star Wars, remember how Obi-Wan gives Luke his first lightsaber?
Yeah,
Nuts! It's nutty, dude. I'm telling you, it's nutty.
yeah, it is.
That is crazy. That's cool. All right. So, I mean, we already kind of answered it, but I was kind of right. That what does that have to do with becoming a leader, hero? But like, you're assuming you're becoming a man. Like after Luke experiences that tragedy of losing Aunt May and Uncle Beru. Bro, fuck. Like he goes off to.
That's 2 F-bombs.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Put a counter on the bottom.
Take a shot. He goes off to Obi-Wan, the wise old Merlin. What's crazy is that Uncle Beru actually calls him a wizard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he does. Remember that?
That's probably another reference, honestly.
Crazy. All right, so next little point.
In fact, thinking back, actually, you know another example we would talk about a lot in that folklore class, although it's kind of the opposite, the Wizard of Oz. How she gets the ruby slippers. That could be a way of like depicting like female.
Woman.
Yeah, like the shoes could be like a feminine symbol, but like when she puts them on, I guess you could say she stands a bit taller, so she's ready to take on a leadership position a bit better.
It's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, dude. All right, this episode's over. I beat the system.
Jeez. But next point then, Mike. Since that was a very fruitful first start. We talked about gathering the sort of weapon of might, which is basically like assuming manhood and responsibility. Sometime during his rule, King Arthur ventures to a mysterious misshrouded enchantress named the Lady of the Lake. Upon request, the Lady of the Lake grants King Arthur the magic sword Excalibur.
What came first, King Arthur or Beowulf? Because that's another thing we spoke about a lot, and Beowulf's like the same thing again. Only thing is, Beowulf started off as a man by like ripping Grendel in half with his bare hands. I think it was.
What is it? Okay, hold on. Let's not confuse the audience with like a different story. Hold on. We'll definitely talk about that another day because I don't actually remember talking about Beowulf. But
Yeah, that's a good episode.
yeah, but don't
That
worry.
will be existent in the future.
We'll do a dive episode on it. Don't worry. What does the sword in this context represent, and what does it mean to be granted it by such an enchanting figure as the Lady of the Lake? Because so like obviously, okay, so
It's probably a metaphor for losing your virginity.
yeah, that's fair. That's honestly very fair. Let me think.
Because a lot of people consider that is when like you truly become a man.
Yeah,
Like you hit puberty. There goes your phallic symbol.
Sword of the Stone.
So that's you're setting off to your quest into manhood, which is getting laid. See, sex has a lot to do with literature and philosophy.
No, yeah, I know you want to do an episode on that. So
I did.
yeah, you said you wanted to do like how sex plays into philosophy.
I guess so. I don't recall.
This is your time to shine, Mike.
Yeah. For I've had sex before. Believe it or not.
Now, what is the Lady of the Lake? Like, I mean, obviously, you kind of hit the nail right on that. She represents femininity. She represents like beauty. But like, the thing is, like, she's also very mysterious, and she's kind of enchanting, but in like almost a terrifying way. In fact, like, what happens is that she actually like in one of the renditions, she actually enchants Merlin and kills him or something like that, or imprisons him.
Maybe it has to do with how far people would a man may go to get, some.
To bury their snake.
Yeah, bury their snake. putting the sword back in the stone. Which is funny because then you pulled it out of the stone in the first place, and now you're essentially trying to put it back. Dude, oh shit. That's like when you're born. Sorry.
What?
I cursed. But you take the sword out of the stone is birth. Your birth into manhood. Then not really when you put it back in the stone, but you inevitably use a sword to stab a creature, and that's kind of the metaphor of actually getting laid.
Yeah, like slaying the dragon is
Is
getting laid. Yeah,
Yeah.
because the reward the reward.
So
in
that
the
makes
end is, like,
Donkey from
amazing.
Shrek like the ultimate
Oh my God.
divine hero.
The ultimate.
See, now
Chad.
you're cursing, so this is a hard rule.
But no, I think you hit the nail around the head, Mike. For slaying the dragon, essentially putting the sword back in the stone. It is representatory of.
I picked the easy topic. I took a literal class on this.
I mean, Arthurian legends. A lot of people would argue it kind of hard to decipher, though.
Oh, they're wrong.
Yeah, probably. Well, yeah, I guess. But so putting the sword back in the stone. I mean, it could easily just represent. Well, when you slay the dragon, like you said, you're embedding the sword back in the stone. And when you slay the dragon, you also get the dragon's gold, which you're supposed to like distribute among the people that you're saving from it. Like the order that you bring to the land is beneficial for people in the long run.
Yeah.
So that's also kind of reminiscent of the wow. Okay, this is. I mean, this isn't a crazy thought, but like follow me here. Like hold on. When you put the story back in the stone, you're essentially preparing the next generation to take up the mantle responsibility.
Wait, does he actually put the sword back in the stone?
No. This is just something I'm speculating based on your thought. So, but if you think about it, what that represents is a sort of legacy, you know?
Yeah.
Because the next generation comes and pulls the sword out of the corpse of the creature.
Just like in Star Wars, like they pass down Luke's lightsaber or the Master Sword goes to wherever the hell it goes.
But here, I'll take it a step further. Remember, Luke didn't keep the lightsaber.
Yeah.
You know, from his father. He actually gets his own. So that's reminiscent of getting his sword from the Lady of the Lake. He becomes a man, or rather, he becomes even greater than, I guess, like a real man. Because I mean, the Sword of the Stone is obviously representing him, like you said, puberty.
Yeah.
So getting his own lightsaber is sort of reminiscent of him becoming a fully actualized hero.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
I hope all of you think it's cool too.
Yeah, I'm really hoping you think it's cool because I'm really actually thinking this time.
Yeah, I know. We go through pain for you people.
Please. I mean, they're interesting thoughts because, like, I mean, a lot of people sort of shrug off things like the Bible, the biblical stories, the Arthurian legends. They're kind of just like, because they're really.
There's no fancy stuff in it, so I don't give a crap.
Yeah. There's no visual medium, so it's like, oh, what does this even matter?
Yeah.
But like, no, these are really.
You want me to read a book? Get the hell out of here.
But these are really foundational principles. Like, these are archetypes just made sort of manifest into a story that people can understand.
Your new favorite literature podcast.
I mean, some literature is really worth examining.
Yeah, it is.
But
in a philosophical,
yeah,
philosophical way.
But
paleontologic way.
But I mean, think about it. You couldn't really explain to a peasant like, oh yeah, this is what you.
Yeah, if you went up to him, it's like, dude, pulling out the sword literally means getting a boner. He'd be like, what?
So what you do is the story, the narrative helps people cling on to it better, you know.
Yeah. What happens if the sword breaks or if you lose it? Like in Samurai Jack, he lost it.
He lost his dignity. He lost his manhood.
Yeah, and he became like a beast, basically.
Yeah, he became an uncontrollable.
They usually become a beast. You don't see them like revert in like age in a way. Like you don't see them become like more immature. You just see them regress like into a primal state.
Exactly.
I can't think of any other example where someone loses a sword. Oh no, Luke doesn't he? Like he puts it away or whatever, and Rey finds it, and ever since then he's become like a a hermit.
He loses it when he gets his hand cut off.
Yeah, and then since then he's like a hermit. Yeah, milking blue friggin' milk out of blue udders.
Whatever. Sip.
God, it sucked.
It wasn't really that good.
Oh, I didn't even watch it.
But, I mean, I guess I could ask what does that represent, but let's keep going.
What, the milk?
No, when he gets his hand cut off by his father.
Oh.
What that what that is that well, I'll just explain it. Okay, that's actually, I believe, a Jungian archetype for the father that eats his son. Like the king who eats the prince because he's jealous of him, or he's like really
like when Kronos eats all of his children, and then I think Hera or whoever bashes his skull open, and they all pop out of his head.
I think so.
Yeah, dude, he eats the Chrono.
I'm thinking of like Eustace and Miriam with the bowling pin, or with the
rolling pin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chrono eats all of his children, and then they break out eventually.
Yeah. I mean, well, There's so much stuff that we could do. We could do like a whole mythology season, but yeah. So, moving on. Oh wait, no, I'll end it off with this. The Lady of the Lake. She's so mysterious. She's so enchanting, and the reason why I think she's depicted that way is because, I mean, the sort of the goal, I guess, which is to get laid, to receive sort of, which, I mean, it isn't just getting laid, it's receiving a sort of confirmation from the feminine ideal that you are worthy,
Yeah.
that you're chosen, you know?
Because, like, when a woman, like, puts you down, it feels worse.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically telling...
Not to me, because I've evolved.
It's basically saying how what you are is not worth continuing on into the next generation.
Yeah. Even though some people slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
Like, some people
Get it?
should not have reproduced.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, because, you know, I'm always kind of afraid of having a baby. Even though I want one, I just can't afford it right now.
Yeah. You gotta save it. But yeah, I mean, if you're not careful, much like Merlin, you could be enchanted. You could be sort of encapsulated into the spell. But if you're wise, or if you're capable or chosen, like King Arthur, then
You can keep it in your pants.
exactly. If you're control, like if you have control over your manhood, like King Arthur did, you can essentially get an upgrade, which is
Yeah.
like you become an even greater version of yourself.
You
gain-
become a wizard at 30 if you're a virgin.
Yeah. Well, you essentially gain the confidence. That's what that is. Excalibur is just confidence.
Yeah.
It's the sword, like, which represents masculinity, but it's enchanted, which means that it's enhanced. That's all. That's cool.
Yep.
Really cool. But moving on, Mike. King Arthur fights and beats many great men in his time, but instead of killing them, he inducts them into his order, the Knights of the Round Table. Which I'll just say right now, the reason why the table's round is because they're all equal.
Yeah.
I learned that. Did you hear that in your folklore class?
Yeah, I did. Dude, I was thinking if there was an apocalypse, I would start a knightly order.
Were you not thinking of the show that we're doing right now?
No. No, I was legit thinking, like, I'd try to go to, like, what was left of the church and make a knightly order.
That would be so cool.
That would.
Yeah. Could I be in there?
Yeah, if you're, like, religious enough.
Cool.
And if you survive the blast.
I'll survive. Don't worry.
Okay.
I got a special shield. God, from UV. But they all, upon experiencing a vision, soon venture forth in search of the Holy Grail in a dark and mysterious land. This would be their most important quest. So even more important than getting Excalibur was the search for the Holy Grail. Which, by the way, King Arthur doesn't even actually find it. He doesn't get it.
What a loser.
I think it was Lord Percival that actually got it.
What does it even do?
Well, I think okay, so the Holy Grail was the vessel that held the portion of Christ's divinity. He used it during the Last Supper, and it captured his blood when a spear impaled him during his crucifixion.
Really?
Yes.
Like, actually, like real life?
Well, nobody knows if it actually exists, but that's what it is.
That's cool.
Yeah. What does the Grail represent, and why quest for it? Why is King Arthur forming a group of knights important, and how is it related to the Grail quest?
I figure it symbolizes, like, divinity and trying to get to it.
Yeah, just like you said, like ascension, just like Jesus. Like
It's making me thirsty.
Dude, I want a Grail, like a genuine, like made of silver. And
Yeah, I
embedded
want
with
a-
jewels and whatnot.
I want a grail that's plastic with water in it.
Dude, because if it's made of like real metal, then you don't ever need to wash it, because metal's toxic to, it's antimicrobial. That's why doors are made of brass or whatever. Doorknobs, antimicrobial.
I think that's something.
So you can drag it in some Ebola and not even get any Ebola.
Okay. I want some grog.
Imagine just like the King Arthur, he's like, or Lord Percival finds the Grail and he's like, what is this, water? Hold on.
Pours some Mountain Dew in it.
Yeah.
I need some gator fuel.
But
It's so funny. Mountain Dew used to be like symbolizing rednecks, and now it symbolizes gamers.
Symbolizes both.
Does it? Oh.
dude, it symbolizes reaching divinity. That's what the rednecks did, dude. They became rednecks into gamers.
Dude, they call them Mountain Dew because, you know, like how Lao Tzu went on the mountain and stuff. Everyone, they go to the highest point on Earth to to drink it.
So the water from the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
So the front. I guess.
So we might as well start handing out Mountain Dew at church.
All right. So I mean, we already. I think we can conclude that the Holy Grail means divinity.
The pee of Christ. It would be it's
The
yellow.
pee. What?
The body and blood and pee of Christ.
Yeah. Do you think people would genuinely drink the pee of Christ?
No, hell no. I don't think they would.
I think they would.
No. Pee doesn't have any, like, symbolism. It's just pee. You don't want to think about pee. Like, blood means something no matter what, and so does your body. But, like, pee, you don't need pee. That's why you expel it from your body.
The pee of Christ. Take on my pee and then imbibe it.
Jesus is our
For this
Kelly.
is for drink the lemonade. For this is representatory of my pee. Eat the bread. For this is my body. They passing out the cup like you come up.
I don't want to drink it.
Drink the pee. Come on.
Judas is like, yeah, they're making us drink pee.
Oh, Jesus. All right. So moving on. Why? Well, I already asked this, but like, why is this whole forming the group of companions important for searching for the Grail? Like, why didn't King Arthur just like do it himself?
He probably would have died if he tried. He needed pals.
Yeah.
He wasn't alone when he had Merlin, and why would he be alone now?
Well, yeah, but like,
Which is funny because in Beowulf he does do it all by himself.
but no, there's like a particular type of Well, dude, hey, it's just like in Star. Well, I mean, maybe not exactly in Star Wars, but in Star Wars, he has to go back for his friends. You know, he has to form his has to, with the help of his companions, bring down the tyranny of the Empire.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's obviously something important about forming a coalition of your closest companions who you all see as equal.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the same as an army where you're the general and everybody else is, but basically, like, his companions were about as kingly as he was, which, I mean, that's important because, I mean, it's kind of plays into the preference of what, like, the reason why I sort of formed the show is because I feel as if in you... Oh, basically, like, the sort of iconography of the submarine, and I guess me and Mike all being the pilots of said submarine is that, like, to better maneuver through life, it's best that you gather your friends and build kind of like an ark. It's kind of like the archetypal of building an ark.
Yeah.
Yeah, like to sort of weather the storm of existence, you have to build a ship.
Yep.
Quote unquote. Which is what I was kind of getting at when I first introduced like the idea of the show to our production company. And they liked it, so that's why we're on episode 17, Mike, because they liked it.
That's a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
17 weeks ago, dude.
Shit. Almost a year. Well,
No, not even close.
Yeah, not even close, but still. Eventually it'll be a year. Episode 52.
Oh, yeah.
But I learned that searching for the Grail in the dark and mysterious land, I heard that was sort of representatory of like basically facing your fears, like your greatest fears, or like venturing forth into like the unknown, just like the sort of pioneers, you know.
Yeah.
Like you have to be the pioneer of your own divinity. In order to reach the highest point of being, you have to go to a land that you have to basically like be willing to close off your senses to the world, in a way, you know.
And go to a new place.
Exactly. Yeah, which I mean that's
With new
important.
treasures.
Yeah, it's important. You know, you gotta be willing to. Well, you gotta be willing to move in order to survive. You know, not only just to survive but to thrive.
I remember back in the day, you used to give me quotes.
What?
You used to give quotes. You don't give them no more.
Well, I give quotes if honestly the quotes were kind of filler. If I'm honest, but yeah, don't worry about it.
You got food?
Okay. Well, actually, no, I do have a quote here. The quest in modern times may convey less adventures and hopefully less bloodshed, yet is the universal thirst of the person seeking God. So that's on the Quest for the Grail by a Christian website I went to.
See, that sucks, though, because I would really enjoy the adventure more than just sitting, like, all right, go to school, get a job, or go to trade school, get a job, work, Hey.
Instead, you can go serve in the king's army to defeat the Saxons.
Yeah, like I should be able to smite a freaking beast and get money that way.
Well, I mean, why do you think like RPGs and World of Warcraft are so popular?
Because it's not real life. What, are you gonna play a freaking Super Accountant Simulator 2019? Like, why?
Farming simulator.
I could just be a farmer, or well, no, you can't always be a farmer. Farming actually has like some. I don't know. I guess anyone can find fun in anything. But like, I'd rather play a simulator where I'm not. Like, Goat Simulator was fun for like 20 minutes.
It's the spice of life, dude. All right, so I think the last thing here is King Arthur dies because what actually happens to him is that his body is taken to like the mystical island of Avalorn or something like that, and it's kind of cool actually because he's trying to be he's gonna be resuscitated by the Lady of the Lake.
Yeah.
And if he basically makes the promise that eventually he'll return, like Jesus. So we're gonna talk about that because like the return of the hero or something like that.
Oh, was that episode part 3, whatever?
Well, no, we can talk about it here. I mean, I think we can talk about it here.
No.
So King Arthur dies after being mortally wounded by his illegitimate son Mordred. So right after, like, right off the bat, like his name, like Mordred.
Mordred.
Well, it's not even annotating that. I mean, a mord in Latin is like a close to Latin for meaning death. Like
Baldwin Ward, you tag him, we beg him.
like more.
I did that at work once.
What?
I picked up the phone at work and I was like, Baldwin Ward, you tag him, we beg him. And she was like, excuse me? I'm like, Stop and Shop Deli, I'm gonna help you.
But it's Mord meaning death. So he's obviously some sort of a harbinger of doom or death.
Yep.
So he's wounded by his illegitimate son, who he also kills in a fight. This is where he meets his technical end. Chaos has been leading up to this, caused by, at least in part, the unfaithfulness of King Arthur's wife, Guinevere, who runs off with Arthur's greatest friend, Lancelot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sir Lancelot?
Yeah. There's also, like, a story where Mordred actually, like, I believe after killing Lancelot, he seduces Guinevere. Sorry. He seduces Guinevere.
It's horrible.
Not only does Mordred attempt to usurp Arthur by murdering him, he also murders all of Arthur's companions.
Damn.
This results in the end of Arthur's kingdom.
They never tell you that in media.
Well, because there's so many different stories about it. Like, because
which one's canon?
I have no idea. Like, a lot of them are trying to, like, conflate this with, like, what actually happened in the history, which is impossible. So there's, like, so many different stories.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, what does that mean? What does all of that mean, basically?
Kind of like a warrior death, I guess. Like you swore to the sword, you die by the sword, basically. And like masculinity of somebody else got in the way of yours, and that's why it was a complete,
TKO.
Poop throwing match.
Like, let me think about it for a second.
It's just like aggression on aggression. Eventually, when you run out of things to fight together, you might fight among yourselves, maybe.
So like, might doesn't always make right?
Yeah, I think we said that a lot on this podcast.
Jesus, Mike.
I'm sorry, I only slept for like 13 hours last night. I then drank a cup of coffee right after I woke up. I don't know.
Why are you even tired?
I slept too much.
Yeah, that happens.
Yep. Well, wait, I went to bed at 4 and I woke up at 12-ish. 2.
You just slept too much.
Yeah, sleepies. I'm like Garfield. We should do the philosophy of Garfield and hedonism and stuff.
Garfunkel.
What?
Wait, you said Garfield?
Garfield, not
Oh.
Garfunkel.
Whoops.
Friggin', what does Garfunkel have to do with anything?
But no, I think like you said, you hit the nail around the nose. Sort of dying by the sword, live by the sword, die by the sword.
Yeah.
The sort of what the end result of sort of masculinity
I'm a sage.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Masculinity is sort of unimpeded, or like without control. Is like you end up just clashing and grinding each other into nothingness.
Should have brought a shield or a gun. Maybe that's what guns represent. Maybe guns represent mankind's like evolution past masculinity to what it is today and what's going to be.
You think so?
Yeah, maybe. Because now you could be impersonal with your assaults, and like nukes could cause such damage from being shot far away. Like swords are going obsolete. Maybe that's why like masculinity is being viewed as going obsolete, which is stupid, but it is.
Oh, so it's crazy because then what people say is that we will end up nuking each other back to the Stone Age.
Yeah.
So we're gonna basically put ourselves back in time.
Yeah, basically.
Back to when the sword was relevant.
Yeah. Like, I guess it's trying to say, like, once you get to a certain point of destruction, you're no longer a man. You really are, like, I think Truman said he's, like, not Truman, the guy, one of the engineers.
Oppenheimer?
I think so, said he's,
I am death. I have become death, destroyer of worlds.
Basically, yeah. He basically did.
Oh, so he's saying that I'm not a man anymore, I'm just...
Like, I'm no longer a man, I'm just the epitome of destruction. So.
Which is like the very worst aspects of, I guess, humanity.
Yeah, because that was probably that was probably like one of the biggest atrocities mankind's ever done.
The creation of the atomic bomb.
Well, using it, like on Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
So you're saying we shouldn't have? Or?
Well, I'm not gonna get into it in a strategic sense because we. Yeah, I'd say we should have, but like it also led to like. That was like a singularity point to the Earth. That was when we first like really harnessed the ability to cause mass extinction on our own hands, without like, and not just like through pollution, but like an action, like a swift action, something you could do quick, like and willingly, like we willingly learned how to exterminate massive amount of people in a short time.
Yeah.
Pretty not effortlessly, but like essentially relative to who did it, who pressed the button effortlessly.
So what does that have to do with being a hero? You think like is the person who just with the press of a button launches a nuke to end a war a hero?
Well, I think, all right, put it this way. You know how we said how what was his name? Mordred like ended up killing all the guys in the round table and everything. I would say like that happened. Let's say that was like actually fighting in the World War II. Let's say that's what that was. We took it a step further with the nuke. Like, we found a way to, like, make the fighting stop by force. So when everyone gets that power, everyone's going to do it, and that's when we're going to go back to square one.
Yeah.
Pretty terrible.
I think what you said about I think it was Oppenheimer. Yeah. What you said about that was really interesting about how he's no longer a man. He's just...
Like, we're carrying on, like... We managed to do something that it was only like back then could only be done by like magic. Like they would think like for so many people to die it would have to have been like a magical attack or something or a giant natural cataclysm. But we did it, is what's different.
Yeah. We can cause more destruction. We can cause a greater loss of life than anything there.
Yeah, we've officially kind of evolved past the Earth in terms of what we could do wrong to it, which history hasn't done yet. So maybe in the future they'll be talking about it when it was too late and we set everything off. Who knows?
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Like, you're basically making an argument for, like, the fact that technology can go too far, which I totally believe it can.
Yeah, like, imagine this. Like, whenever there's a great cataclysm, it's usually, like, the gods have turned on us or something went wrong or, like, a natural disaster happened. There was never really humans doing it themselves.
Yeah.
At least to my knowledge. Or unless if it was humans doing it, it was because they offended, like, God or something. In some way.
I'm about to go really meta for a second. Yo, Steve. When did Nietzsche die?
Who?
Friedrich Nietzsche. What was he born when he died?
Friedrich Nietzsche?
None of you see this. No, close your ears. Turn off the screen.
No,
Should I speak into the microphone or?
Go ahead.
Okay. 1 second.
Everybody close your ears when he does.
Close.
Friedrich Nietzsche was born October 15th, 1844, and he died August 25th, 1900.
So my point was that, like, so Friedrich Nietzsche obviously famously said, God is dead, and we've killed him. So I mean, that time, like around the time he lived, was the sort of coming of the Industrial Revolution, but it was also the expression of mass mobilized men and mass mobilized weapons. So levels of destruction that generally haven't been seen before. Like it was around the time, I think it was post Napoleon or around the time of Napoleonic era. No, I think it was post. But like, I mean, what's crazy about that prediction is that like it's hitting the nail on like what you said. Like what I find is crazy is that like there's two major quotes to show like the turning point of mankind. It's when Nietzsche says that the God is dead, and when Oppenheimer says I am become death. Because he's just speaking for himself. He's speaking for the entirety of mankind. If you think about it.
Yeah, he's not shitting. Like that changed everything. That made war almost. People used to go into war like. Not necessarily hopeful, but they thought something would come out of it. But now when we go into war, we tend to think like the world could end from this.
Yeah.
Like we used to think like, all right, worst case scenario, we get invaded, we lose our homes. Now the worst case scenario is the entire world ends.
Yeah.
Like we went way too far.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody has these now. It's like, I guess that's a good thing in the sense that like that makes people hesitant to use them. But the minute somebody decides, I'm going to use them, that's going to be the end.
And then you can't even stop people who are genuinely awful from getting them, because every time you try, someone who's backing them or somebody who also has some is going to try to stop you or something like that.
Like, it's the biggest burden we have. Even if, like, we can't trust anybody with them. Even if we got rid of them, we couldn't trust anyone to, like, not get rid of them, you know?
And we can't get rid of them because then we lose a major negotiating point.
Yeah, which it should never have been a negotiation. We're like, oh, we'll just kill all of your people in one fell swoop if you keep screwing around.
Yeah.
And how would we get rid of them?
So that's some interesting thoughts on Mordred and what he means.
Yeah.
I was gonna say more on. Actually, no. This is pretty relevant. I was gonna say that the destruction of Arthur's kingdom, because Mordred is illegitimate, which is bad.
Yeah.
It was bad, especially during that time. I was gonna say like the destruction of everything you know. It's basically the destruction of everything you know from. It's like the destruction of everything you know is the manifestation of your own hubris.
Yeah.
Literally, just like we just said about Oppenheimer. So like, the destruction of whether it be the Death Star, or the destruction of I guess what's another thing that we talked about.
In terms of mass destruction and like media, there's the Death Star. There's Smaug. Or Smaug. Some people pronounce it Smaug, the dragon from Lord of the Rings. Well, no, he's the dragon from The Hobbit, actually.
Yeah.
Like, he is, like, the end... But he's also the thing, like, you set out to defeat, though.
Well, I mean, the destruction of everything you've built.
I don't know.
Well, I think the Death Star and Arthur's Kingdom are pretty good examples, anyway. But the destruction of everything you have from... as a manifestation of your own hubris, I mean, I think that is what it sort of represents. Like, and the fact that they kill each other mutually, it just shows that you're not gaining anything from it, you know?
Yeah.
Nobody actually won, and everything's gone.
It's like negotiation. Negotiation's supposed to end with both parties being happy with what they ended up with.
Yeah.
That goes above negotiation and just is chaos and destruction.
Yeah. And it also goes into the cycle of civilization, when civilization goes from order to corruption and chaos.
Yeah, we essentially gained like the ability to make hell, like to make Earth a hell.
Yeah, like Arthur, I believe he started turning to chaos when Guinevere became unfaithful, and he wasn't, and King Arthur didn't actually find the Holy Grail.
Like he failed, and everything he built up went crumbling down.
Yeah, and the reason why he failed is because King Arthur was actually illegitimate originally.
Oh.
Yeah. So I guess that's all. Like, it all plays into this idea that the sins of the father, sins of the son, the past always finds a way to catching up to you, and basically, I am become death. What you've created is gonna end up destroying you totally.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All right, Mike's Misters.
Hold on. I guess to just wrap that up, to say, like, what does that all have to do with being a hero?
Well, there's often tragedy when it comes to being a hero. The tragic hero is what they call it.
Yeah.
And not every hero is tragic, but eventually they do encounter tragedy.
It's just a part of being a hero, being willing to understand that what you have may go away and you could easily become corrupted.
Yep.
That's actually a really big thing. Like, listen, if you grew up in Nazi Germany, you're probably going to be a Nazi. You're probably going to be one of those, the prison guards who oversees the extermination.
Well, if you grew up in Nazi Germany and were applicable to be one and not Jewish.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, but the point is that like being willing to understand like how like your propensity for destroying everything is important in part of being a hero.
Yeah.
Because you have to be willing to stay your hand and only strike when absolutely necessary. That sort of thing.
Yeah. But then we took it like another notch above nuking Japan.
Yeah. Or else your hubris will manifest as your illegitimate son Mordred and slay you.
Yeah.
And destroy your kingdom.
Sucks.
I guess we could have talked about Guinevere and what she represents, but no, Mike Smithers, go.
Alright, so speaking of war and stuff, I wish I did this when we were talking about Greece during Stoicism, but you've heard of Greek fire water, right?
Fire water. Go on.
It's
I've heard of Greek fire, go on.
Greek fire, yeah. It's basically ignitable, like an ignitable liquid that would, singe large amounts of people. It was like a really torturous way of killing off a massive amount of people. But it was, the recipe for it was so heavily guarded that it's lost even today. And no one knows how the hell you make it.
Still?
Yeah, like there's ways of like kind of making something similar. Like what liquids are ignitable and stuff, but it...
Pee? No.
Happen to. No, but there's like, it's different though because they were able to like carry it around and like use it like. I'd assume there's like some casualties with people who tried using it. It's like, oh, let me touch it, shoot, like that. But it's just
like fire bombs. They would use it to ignite ships and stuff.
Yeah, it was just nuts that like they were able to keep the secret recipe hidden for so long. It's like Mr. Krabs. Basically.
Yeah, I was about to say. Are Persians trying to steal me secret Persians trying to steal me secret formula?
Yeah, but it's just interesting how people think it. It's interesting, like the concepts of like people talking about what it could have been and stuff. But it's just It's just like the main interesting point is the fact that they were such a destructive weapon that nobody has the recipe for. Like, imagine if nukes didn't like. It's like exactly be like nukes. When we use up all the nukes, no one's gonna know how to make them again.
Well, we use them all the nukes.
Well, yeah. Unless everyone's dead, then obviously no one's gonna be able to.
No, what you need to do is you need to find all the launch codes like in Fallout 76, so you can win over your enemies.
Okay. But yeah, Greek fire water.
Yeah, dude.
Fire. Sounds like a drink.
Greek fire.
It could have been alcohol. Who knows? Alcohol you could light up on fire.
You pass me some of that Greek fire, boys. Sip.
So yeah, that's all for Mike's Mysteries. I'm sorry.
What?
I always feel like I'm too brief with it.
Well, I mean, that one was kind of brief. The Mothman was pretty good.
Because I like aliens a lot more. But like, I feel like if I talk about an alien every week, it's just gonna be boring. Didn't I talk about flatwoods too? Pretty sure I talked about flatwoods.
I mean, aliens are a mystery.
I can talk about that. Well, yeah, but they always end up going back like, oh, it was just an owl. Like, come on. Actually, no. The thing is, I used to think a flatwoods, like, it was a hissing creature. It was like a tall hissing creature, and they said it was an owl. It was a barn owl. I'm like, that's bull. There's no way. But then I saw a video of a barn owl making the most ungodly, demonish freaking, like, it was like... Like, it sounded like gas leaking out of a friggin' pipe. It was
fuck.
It sounded horrifying. I'm like, why do you make that sound? No wonder they thought you were an alien. You should look it up, people.
This is crazy.
It was a horrifying sound.
Alright. So,
Didn't I talk about Atlantis once?
No.
I'm not gonna either.
Dude, I already know what Greek fire is.
What is it?
It's pee.
Imagine. There's peed in a bucket. It's like, they'll never get it.
Dude, look how hard I can set this bun on fire.
That'd be so funny if it really was just pee.
Just Odysseus looking at him like a close-up on his face.
They're like, this smells like pee. It is pee.
No, my ship. The guy who
God.
created Greek Fire P or whatever, like looked at his creation. He was like, "I am become death, destroyer."
I really do wonder what they could have found up in like their minerals and stuff, like how they came. Like they don't even know how they discovered it, which is interesting.
Okay. Also, the process of like apparently like siphoning lead from ore, I guess, is really weird. Like you take
The moon and you take the sun.
no. Like you're supposed to take like vinegar and put it on the stone, and then like it's heated vinegar, and then like some other sort of chemical, like some sort of alkaline chemical or whatever.
All right, fire water is vinegar, boys. All right, we gotta
Salt and Greek fire chips.
we gotta wrap it up.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know. I think we can still talk about.
Donate money to our Patreon now.
Please, God, please.
I'm gonna soon.
I promise. If you do that, we'll learn what Greek fire actually is. We'll also learn what Roman concrete is.
We'll make it on the show.
Yeah. Can we? To make Greek fire.
So we gotta talk about it.
No. Whatever. I guess we'll never know. All right. Thank you, all of you.
Sip.
Sip. Drink some Greek fire.
Don't do that. I'm
Donate
like,
to the listen. As long as there's no fire, donate to the Patreon. Defeat the Persians. Form 300 Spartans and defend Thermopylae along a chasm. We're going down.